You know that animal the internet just loves? The koala. With its round ears, big nose, and those sleepy, half-closed eyes, it looks like the pure embodiment of chill. It's the perfect star for memes, plush toys, and those classic Australian postcards. But behind that fluffy, cuddly exterior is one of the strangest, most highly specialized, and downright weird animals on the planet. So what exactly is a koala? Let's start by correcting the biggest mistake the world has been making for over 200 years. A koala is not a bear. Not even a little bit. It's not a little bear. Not a tree bear, and definitely not an Australian teddy bear. These are just cute nicknames, not biological facts. The koala is a marsupial. That's the same big group of mammals that includes kangaroos, wallabies, and wombats. The key difference is how they have babies. Marsupials give birth to incredibly tiny, underdeveloped young that finish growing inside their mother's pouch. A newborn koala is about the size of a jelly bean. It's blind, has no fur, and is completely helpless. It has to crawl into the pouch all on its own, and for the next several months, it just stays there, nursing and developing. This is a totally different strategy from bears, which give birth to much more developed cubs and don't have a pouch. Biologically, comparing a koala to a bear is like comparing a bat to a bird just because they both have wings. And yet for a very long time, that's exactly what people did. The koala is like a lonely island on the evolutionary tree. It's not just that it isn't a bear. Even among marsupials, it's an outlier. It's the only living member of its genus, the last survivor of an entire family of tree-dwelling, leaf-eating marsupials. In the past, Australia was home to lots of similar species, some bigger, some smaller, some more agile. But climate change, long droughts, and the disappearance of eucalyptus forests wiped most of them out. The koala survived. Not because it was the strongest or the fastest, but because it was the most stubborn in its specialization. This is an animal that didn't choose to be flexible. It chose the path of all or nothing. Its body, its diet, its behavior, its metabolism, everything was built for one single lifestyle: slow, high up in a tree, eating leaves, and sleeping. So if the koala isn't a bear, does it have any close relatives? Yes, and it's a surprising one: the wombat. At first glance, they look nothing alike. The wombat is chunky, lives on the ground, digs burrows, and kind of looks like a cross between a guinea pig and a tiny tank. The koala is light, lives in trees, is fluffy, and spends its life clinging to a trunk. And yet, genetically, wombats are the koala's closest living relatives. They share a similar skull structure, teeth designed for grinding up tough plants, and a common ancestor. You could almost say the wombat is the ground version, and the koala is the tree version of the same evolutionary idea. Interestingly, wombats are also masters of saving energy and have super slow metabolisms. The big difference is that the wombat went underground, while the koala climbed a tree. Two different solutions to the exact same problem: how to survive on a diet that is low in nutrients and hard to digest. So why did the world get it so wrong about the koala for so long? There are three main reasons: what it looks like, old-school colonial science, and our human tendency to oversimplify things. When the first European settlers saw a koala, they had no clue what they were looking at. It looked sort of like a bear, it acted like a slow mammal, and it had fur and claws. Back then, biology was just getting started, and animals were mostly classified by how they looked. So they called it a bear. They didn't know much about marsupials or Australian wildlife, and the knowledge of the indigenous peoples was completely ignored. The name just stuck. It was repeated in maps, books, and drawings. And once something becomes part of popular culture, scientific facts have a hard time catching up. Even today, many languages use words for koala that literally mean bear, even though we've known for ages that it's wrong. The koala basically became a victim of its own cute appearance. It's just a perfect example of how we humans tend to classify the world based on what we think we see, not on what's actually true. Koalas live in only one place on Earth, Australia. And not even all of it. Their natural habitat is limited to the eastern and southeastern parts of the continent, mostly along the coast where the climate is milder. Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, and parts of South Australia, that's the thin slice of the world where a koala can survive. Everywhere else is basically a biological dead zone for them. The key to their survival is one word: eucalyptus. A koala doesn't just live in a forest. It lives in a very specific type of forest, dominated by certain species of eucalyptus trees. These forests aren't random. They need to have the right amount of humidity, the right temperature, and the right structure. The trees have to be a certain height, spaced out just right, and produce leaves with a specific chemical makeup. For a koala, a forest isn't just scenery, it's a life support system where every single detail matters. On top of that, the koala is an extremely territorial animal. It doesn't wander around. It doesn't migrate or go looking for a better spot. Its entire world might be just a few trees that it knows inside and out. It knows which leaves are safe to eat, where to rest when it's hot, and where to find shelter from the cold. If you try to move a koala to a different place, even one that looks identical, it causes immense stress and can actually be life-threatening. This attachment to its home territory worked perfectly for thousands of years. The problem started when that environment began disappearing faster than the koala could adapt. Deforestation, cities expanding, roads and farming have all chopped up these once huge forests into small, isolated patches. Suddenly, the koala, which is not a great walker and is clumsy on the ground, has to cross open fields, highways, and fences. And that often ends tragically. Why does the koala have such a hard time outside its natural environment? Because it's a product of extreme specialization. Its diet is incredibly narrow, its metabolism is super slow. Its behavior is rigid. The koala can't just improvise. It won't start eating other plants. It won't change its lifestyle. It won't come up with new survival strategies. This isn't an animal that adapts quickly. It's an animal that operates on the assumption that the world will always stay the same. Outside of its eucalyptus forests, the koala loses everything all at once. Its food, its water source, its shelter, and its sense of direction. Even in zoos, they need incredibly specific conditions, fresh leaves from the right trees, and as little stress as possible. In a natural world that has been changed by humans without connected forests and safe passages, their chances of survival drop dramatically. The koala's anatomy tells one story and one story only. This is an animal built for the trees and nothing else. Let's start with a glance at a koala's body. At first, it might seem a bit disproportionate. Those limbs, especially the front ones, are massive and incredibly strong. Relative to the rest of its body, they are shockingly muscular. This isn't a soft animal at all. Beneath that iconic fur lies a hard functional structure, a powerhouse of muscle designed for one thing: climbing. These muscles in the arms and shoulders are so powerful they allow a koala to pull its entire body vertically up a smooth tree trunk, often without any side branches to help. For a koala, a tree trunk isn't an obstacle, it's a highway. Now look closer at its paws. A crucial role is played by its long, curved claws. These aren't just for show. They're sharp, powerful, and always ready to dig deep into bark. A koala doesn't gently grasp a tree. It anchors itself to it. This allows it to hang, sleep, rest, and eat for hours without wasting any energy on constantly balancing. The claws function like natural climbing hooks, locking the body in place even when the muscles are completely relaxed. It's an unbelievably efficient system. But the most fascinating feature is on its front paws. Koalas have two opposing digits. This unique setup resembles the primitive hand grip seen in primates, and it's a game changer. Thanks to this, a koala can precisely grasp branches of all shapes and sizes. One digit acts like a thumb, while the others form a stable clamp, minimizing any risk of slipping. It's like having a built-in, adjustable vice grip on each hand. This level of precision is what makes them such masters of the canopy. The hind limbs are also adapted for climbing, but they serve a different, equally important function. They provide the push-off power and stability. The feet are broad, and the toes are also equipped with claws that help the animal lock in against the bark. But here's a weirdly brilliant detail. On their hind feet, koalas have two toes that are fused together. This forms a kind of natural comb, a built-in grooming tool. Think about that. Even personal hygiene has been integrated into their anatomical economy. It's all about efficiency. This entire body plan allows the koala to move confidently through the trees, albeit slowly and methodically. But put a koala on the ground, and the story changes completely. It looks awkward, clumsy, and unsure of itself. Its body simply isn't designed for walking long distances or running fast. This is the ultimate proof that the koala never had a plan B. The tree is its home, its sanctuary, and its entire world. Outside of that world, an anatomy that is absolutely perfect in the canopy becomes a serious limitation. Now let's talk about that famous fur. It's far more than just soft hair. It's a highly advanced all-weather thermal insulation system. Without it, a koala simply couldn't survive the brutal Australian heat or the surprisingly cold nights. And just like the rest of its body, nothing here is accidental. Every single hair has a specific job to do. Koalas live in an environment where temperatures can swing wildly. During the day, the sun can bake tree trunks to extreme levels. At night, especially in winter in southern Australia, temperatures can plummet. Koalas don't build nests or hide in burrows. They just sit up in the trees, sometimes remaining motionless for over a dozen hours. Their fur therefore has to function as both air conditioning and a heater, all at the same time. How does it work? It's all about layers and location. Koala fur is dense, multi-layered, and unevenly distributed across its body. On its back, the hairs are longer and coarser. This top layer acts as a shield, protecting the koala from harsh sunlight and rain. But on its belly, the fur is shorter, lighter, and softer. This is incredibly important for when the koala presses its body against a tree trunk. Contact with the cooler bark acts like a natural radiator. The fur on its belly doesn't completely block heat exchange. It regulates it. This is a crucial mechanism for survival. Koalas can't sweat efficiently like we do, so they can't quickly get rid of excess body heat. Instead, they use their environment. They change their body position, they pick specific spots on a tree, and they use their fur to keep their body temperature within a safe range. On a hot day, you'll see them hugging the cooler parts of a trunk. In the cold, they curl up into a tight ball to minimize heat loss. The fur also serves as vital mechanical protection. Imagine spending your entire life clinging to the rough, hard bark of eucalyptus trees. Without proper padding, a koala's skin would be constantly scraped, leading to wounds and infections. The dense fur cushions all that pressure, allowing the animal to essentially merge with the tree without getting hurt. That's why a koala can sleep soundly, leaning against a trunk in the same position for hours on end. It's perfectly comfortable. What's more, koala fur is surprisingly water-resistant. Rain doesn't soak through to the skin immediately. Water just runs off the outer hairs, giving the animal precious time to endure a downpour without losing body heat too quickly. In an environment where the weather can be completely unpredictable, this is yet another vital survival feature. And finally, even the color of the fur is no coincidence. Those familiar shades of gray and brown are perfect camouflage among the tree trunks and branches. Koalas aren't built for fighting or fleeing. Their primary defense strategy is to simply go unnoticed. Their fur helps them disappear into the texture of the forest, especially when they're sitting perfectly still. From their powerful muscles to their specialized paws and their high-tech fur, every part of the koala is a testament to perfect adaptation. It's a living blueprint for survival in the trees. Have you ever looked at a koala and wondered about that big black button-like nose? To us, it's just a cute feature. But for a koala, that nose is a high-tech chemical sensor, a precision instrument it can't survive a single day without. It's the key to understanding one of the most extreme lifestyles in the animal kingdom. Koalas live on a diet that for almost any other mammal would be pure poison. They eat eucalyptus leaves, which are loaded with hundreds of chemical compounds, essential oils, phenols, terpenes, and toxins that are indigestible or even lethal. What's crazier is that the concentration of these substances changes all the time. It depends on the tree species, the season, how much water is in the soil, and even how old a single leaf is. This means that not every leaf is safe to eat, even on the same tree. A koala is literally navigating a chemical minefield with every single meal. So how do they do it? This is where that amazing nose comes in. A koala's sense of smell is exceptionally well developed. While its brain is generally small, the regions dedicated to processing odors are relatively huge. A koala doesn't just taste a leaf in the way we think of it. It smells it, selects it, and evaluates it long before it ever reaches its mouth. That scent tells the koala everything, whether a leaf has too many toxins, if it's fresh enough, and if it will provide the bare minimum amount of energy the animal needs to get by. If you ever watch a koala, you'll see this food selection process is incredibly slow and methodical. It can sit in one spot for a very long time, just sniffing leaf after leaf, and rejecting most of them. This isn't just being picky. It's a critical safety filter. One bad choice could mean poisoning, serious digestive trouble, or an energy loss that the animal simply cannot afford. Think of it like a bomb disposal expert, carefully checking every wire. One mistake and it's game over. The nose also allows the koala to tell the difference between various species of eucalyptus. To our eyes, many of these trees look identical, just another gum tree. But to a koala's nose, they represent entirely different menus. Smell is its chemical map of the forest. It tells the koala which trees are worth visiting and which ones should be avoided at all costs. This is exactly why koalas are so strongly attached to specific territories. They know the scent landscape of their home inside and out. And it's not just about food. Smell is also crucial for avoiding stress and danger. The scent of an unfamiliar koala, a predator like a dingo, or even a human acts as an early warning signal. The koala doesn't react dramatically. It can't afford to waste the energy. Instead, it subtly adjusts its behavior. It might change trees, limit its movement, or choose a different time to be active. In a world where every unnecessary action costs precious energy, being able to detect threats early is invaluable. That big moist nose you see on a koala isn't just for show. Its large surface area is a functional adaptation designed to maximize contact with the air and all the odor molecules floating in it. The more precise the chemical reading of the environment, the greater the chance of survival in a world filled with plant-based poisons. It's important to remember that the nose doesn't work alone. It's part of an entire decision-making system designed to minimize risk at every turn. Koalas don't experiment. They don't try new flavors. Their sense of smell helps them stick to proven, safe choices, even if that means a very monotonous diet and a limited world. In practice, the nose decides everything: where the koala sits, what it eats, how long it stays in one place, and whether it will live to see another day. The koala's diet is one of the most extreme examples of nutritional specialization among all mammals. If you look at it without the evolutionary context, it's hard to believe it even works. Eucalyptus is toxic, low in energy, and incredibly difficult to digest. And yet, for the koala, it's pretty much the only thing on the menu, not a supplement. Not a variation, but the entire foundation of its existence. Let's break down these challenges. First, the toxicity. As we've said, eucalyptus leaves are packed with chemical compounds designed specifically to stop animals from eating them. These oils and phenols can disrupt liver function, the nervous system, and digestion. For most animals, this is a clear sign that says, "Do not eat, you will die." The koala, however, ignores this warning. Not because it's immune, but because it has built its entire body around bypassing that toxicity. The second problem is calories, or rather, the lack of them. Eucalyptus leaves have a very low energy value. They contain very little sugar, fat, or protein. This is a food that barely provides enough energy to compensate for chewing, digesting, and absorbing it. Every single bite is a complex economic calculation. If the energy cost of eating the leaf is more than the energy gained from it, the whole system collapses. And for a koala, the margin for error is almost zero. The third problem is digestibility. The leaves are tough, fibrous, and full of cellulose. To get anything useful out of them requires a lot of time, a lot of specialized bacteria, and a whole lot of patience. To deal with this, koalas have one of the longest digestive tracts relative to their body size among all mammals. This brings us to the core of the koala's survival strategy, its digestive system. You could bluntly say that a koala is mostly just intestines wrapped in fur and claws. It's inside that digestive tract that the real battle for every calorie, every unit of energy, and for survival itself takes place. When eucalyptus leaves enter a koala's mouth, they're essentially useless in that form. They contain massive amounts of cellulose, a compound that mammals can't digest on their own. And on top of that, there are all those toxins that have to be neutralized before the body can absorb anything at all. The koala's solution? Time and space, enormous amounts of both. A koala's digestive system is disproportionately large compared to the rest of its body. Its most important part is the cecum, a massive fermentation chamber where the chewed-up leaves can sit for many days. Inside this cecum, a whole army of gut bacteria gets to work. They break down the tough cellulose, produce volatile fatty acids that the koala can absorb for energy, and neutralize some of the toxins. So in reality, koalas don't digest leaves, they ferment them. They're basically outsourcing the work. This process is absurdly slow. A single meal can take several days to pass all the way through the digestive tract. During that time, the bacteria are the real heroes. The koala is essentially feeding on the byproducts of all that bacterial activity. These microbes are the true chefs in this unique system. Without them, eucalyptus would be nothing more than indigestible stomach filler. But having such a huge, complex digestive system comes at a cost. Maintaining all that tissue consumes a lot of energy. And because energy is in such short supply, the koala has to limit everything else. Its brain is small for its body size, its physical activity is minimal. Its body temperature is kept stable, with very little fluctuation. The entire organism has been optimized for one single purpose: to give the intestines the time and energy they need to do their job. And this is why koalas sleep so much, up to 20 hours a day. Sleep isn't just about rest for a koala. It's a crucial energy-saving strategy. It's a state where their metabolism slows down even further, allowing precious energy to be redirected to the hard work of digestion. Every hour spent awake is a cost. Every movement, every climb, competes for resources with that all-important digestive system. So the next time you see a koala, either snoozing in a tree or slowly munching on a leaf, remember what you're really looking at. You're seeing a master of survival, an animal that has taken one of nature's most unappealing food sources and built its entire world around it. From its superpowered nose to its massive internal fermentation vat, the koala is a perfect example of how evolution can find a way, even in the most extreme circumstances. It's not lazy, it's efficient. It's not picky, it's a genius chemist. It's a true survivor. You might think a koala eats eucalyptus leaves. That's a massive oversimplification. The truth is far more complex and frankly much more brutal. To say a koala eats eucalyptus is like saying a car runs on liquid. It's not just any liquid, and for the koala, it's not just any eucalyptus. Koalas are incredibly picky eaters, but this isn't about taste preference. It's a matter of life and death, a biological calculation happening with every sniff and every bite. There are hundreds of species of eucalyptus trees, and they all differ in their chemical makeup. Each one produces a unique cocktail of toxins, oils, and defensive compounds. A koala's body, its liver, its digestive system, its gut bacteria, is only equipped to handle a very specific set of these chemical profiles. If it eats leaves from the wrong tree, its system can simply break down. This is why koalas don't experiment with their food. They stick to the tree species their bodies know, and this knowledge is passed down through generations. A koala from one region might thrive on a type of eucalyptus that would be poison to a koala from another area. Their gut microbiomes are locally tuned. This means you can't just move a koala to a new forest, even if it's full of eucalyptus trees. It could literally starve to death in a land of plenty because its internal software is incompatible with the local menu. The selection process is even more granular than that. Even on a single correct tree, a koala will be selective. It uses its powerful sense of smell to choose specific leaves. Very young or very old leaves often have higher toxin levels. Leaves on trees growing in poor soil are less nutritious. During a drought, the tree's chemical defenses ramp up. The koala can detect these subtle differences, rejecting leaves that look perfectly fine to us. It's all about a delicate energy balance. Every bite provides a tiny amount of calories, so the koala has to maximize its gain while minimizing the toxic risk. It is always looking for that sweet spot, leaves with relatively fewer toxins and just a little more digestible energy. It's still not much, but it's just enough to keep the body running. So for a koala, a forest isn't a giant buffet. It's a complex mosaic of trees where only a few are usable and an even smaller number are truly safe. Removing just one specific species of eucalyptus from their habitat isn't a small change. It's erasing a critical line from their life support menu. The secret to the koala's survival isn't in its muscles, its claws, or even its brain. The most important system in its body is something you can't even see, its gut bacteria. Without these microscopic partners, a koala couldn't digest a single eucalyptus leaf. It would starve with a full stomach. You see, eucalyptus isn't really food in the normal sense. The leaves are packed with toxins and largely made of cellulose, a tough compound that mammals can't break down on their own. Koalas don't have some magical digestive enzyme or a superpowered stomach. Their genius lies in outsourcing the work. They hand over the entire digestive process to microorganisms. Specialized communities of bacteria live in the koala's enormous gut. These bacteria are the real heroes. They are capable of breaking down the tough cellulose and, crucially, neutralizing the potent eucalyptus toxins. They ferment the leaves, producing energy-rich compounds that the koala can then absorb. In a way, the koala isn't feeding on leaves at all. It's feeding on the byproducts of bacterial fermentation. This relationship is extraordinarily precise. It's not just any gut flora that will do the trick. A koala needs a specific set of bacteria, perfectly adapted to the particular species of eucalyptus growing in its home region. This is another reason why koalas are so tightly bound to their birthplace. A change of scenery isn't just a new view. It's a new chemical puzzle that their gut bacteria might not be able to solve. The most fascinating and raw part of this story happens at the very beginning of a koala's life. A baby koala, or joey, is born with a sterile gut. It has none of the bacteria it needs to survive. To make the switch from milk to a diet of toxic leaves, it must get this microbiome from its mother. This process is unique. At a certain stage, the mother produces a special semi-liquid substance called pap. It's a mixture of her feces packed with the essential bacteria and partially digested nutrients. The joey eats this. It sounds gross, but it's a biological starter kit. It's the operating manual for a koala's entire life. Without this one critical meal, the young koala would never be able to digest eucalyptus leaves. It's a stark demonstration of their dependence. A koala simply cannot exist without its bacteria. It's not an optional extra. It is the very foundation of its being. This deep symbiosis, however, comes with a huge risk. The koala's bacterial system is incredibly fragile. Stress, illness, dehydration, antibiotics, or even a sudden change in diet can wipe out this delicate microbial balance. And when the bacteria stop working, the koala's digestive system becomes a useless, oversized organ. Unlike other animals, the koala has no backup plan. It can't just switch to eating berries or grass to give its gut time to recover. It's a completely closed system. If digestion fails, everything fails. This is why koalas handle stress so poorly. Things like being captured, transported, or kept in captivity, even with access to the right leaves, can cause enough stress to disrupt their gut function. From the outside, it might look like the animal is just fading away, but on the inside, it's a catastrophic collapse of the microbiological foundation of its life. From an evolutionary perspective, this was a massive gamble. The koala essentially handed over control of its survival to organisms invisible to the naked eye. But the payoff was huge. In return, it gained exclusive access to a food source that was poisonous to almost everyone else. These bacteria allowed it to occupy an ecological niche with virtually zero competition. It's a brilliant, if perilous, strategy for survival. So if you ever see a koala sleeping for 20 hours a day, don't think of it as lazy. Think of it as a master of energy conservation. Koalas sleep more than almost any other mammal, typically between 18 and 22 hours a day. To us, this might look like a design flaw, an animal poorly suited for life. But the truth is the exact opposite. For a koala, sleep isn't a weakness. It's its single most important survival strategy. Let's go back to that diet. Eucalyptus provides minimal energy, and extracting that tiny bit of energy is a very, very slow process. The digestive system works at a crawl, with bacteria fermenting leaves for days. The koala's energy budget is always hovering just above zero. In a system like this, any unnecessary activity is a luxury it simply cannot afford. Sleep is how the koala balances its books. By sleeping, it reduces its energy expenditure to the bare minimum. Its heart rate drops, its metabolism slows to a crawl, its muscles relax, and its brain operates on the lowest possible setting. This is the crucial time when the koala's body isn't competing with its digestive system for energy. Instead, it's supporting it, giving those vital bacteria the time and peace they need to do their slow, methodical work. But koala sleep isn't like ours. It's not one deep, long block of rest. It's better described as long periods of stillness, a state of half-sleep and dozing. These periods are broken up by brief moments of activity shifting position on a branch, munching on a few more leaves, or slowly moving to a nearby fork in the tree. This pattern is perfectly designed to maximize energy conservation while still maintaining a minimal level of awareness of the world around it. Limiting movement is just as vital as sleep. Koalas move slowly, deliberately, and only when absolutely necessary. They don't run, they don't jump for fun, they don't explore out of curiosity. Every single movement has been ruthlessly optimized by evolution and reduced to the minimum requirement. This is why they seem to exist in slow motion. They are living life in a permanent low-gear mode, and it's what keeps them alive. This ultra-slow lifestyle also helps with temperature regulation. On hot days, staying still and sleeping reduces the amount of heat their body generates. On cold nights, it reduces heat loss. Koalas don't waste energy actively fighting the weather. Their bodies just adapt by powering down and avoiding the problem in the first place. So the next time you see a koala, remember what you're really looking at. You're seeing a master of specialization, an animal that made a high-stakes evolutionary bargain. Why are koalas always alone? It's not a personality quirk. It's a strict energy-saving strategy. Their diet of toxic, low-nutrition eucalyptus leaves provides just enough energy to survive and nothing more. This means sharing is a luxury they simply can't afford. Each koala lives within its own small, familiar territory, usually just a handful of trees. This is their entire world. It has the right leaves, safe resting spots, and a stable environment. Introducing another koala into this space means competition, and competition burns precious calories. If too many koalas feed in one area, the best leaves are quickly gone, and the remaining ones can become too toxic to eat. So, a solitary life isn't a choice. It's a necessity. It minimizes stress on their environment and allows each animal to maintain its fragile energy balance. Outside of the breeding season, adult koalas actively avoid each other. Encounters are rare, stressful, and seen as a threat of fight for leaves, space, and peace. This solitary nature even shapes their family life. The only real bond is between a mother and her joey, but this lasts only until the young one can digest leaves on its own. After that, the joey must find its own territory. In the koala world, independence is mandatory. There's no group to rely on for help against predators or disease. Each koala is entirely on its own, its survival hinging on a stable environment and its own highly specialized adaptations. So if they're always alone, how do they communicate? Koala communication is a masterclass in efficiency. It's rare, precise, and perfectly suited for an animal living on an energetic knife edge. And it starts with a sound that shatters the cute teddy bear image completely. Male koalas produce deep, guttural roars that sound more like a large predator than a fluffy marsupial. These powerful bellows can travel long distances through the forest, especially at night. It's a multi-purpose message. To other males, it's a clear signal. This territory is taken. Stay away. This avoids costly physical fights. At the same time, it's an advertisement for females. A deep, strong roar indicates a healthy, mature male, a good potential mate. It's long-distance communication at its finest. Low energy, high impact. Females and young koalas also make sounds, but they're much quieter squeaks and murmurs used for close-range contact, like a mother communicating with her joey. A koala doesn't do small talk. It sends short, necessary messages and nothing more. But even more important than sound is their language of scent. This is the foundation of koala society, a way to talk without ever meeting. Male koalas have a prominent scent gland on their chest. By rubbing it against tree trunks, they leave behind a complex chemical signature. It's like a furry social media profile, left right on the tree. This scent tells other koalas everything they need to know. Who was here, their gender, their health, and if the territory is occupied. The tree becomes a community notice board, and the entire forest a map of smells. This system allows koalas to navigate their social world while keeping a safe distance, minimizing stress and the risk of conflict. A face-to-face meeting is always the last resort. Scent resolves most issues before they even begin. Koalas can even recognize the scents of specific individuals, helping them distinguish a familiar neighbor from a new intruder. In a world where stability is everything, this information is priceless. So koala communication has a surprising purpose. It's not designed to build bonds or bring them together. It's designed to keep them apart. Every sound and every scent is a signal to maintain distance, the complete opposite of what we see in herd animals. Here, communication separates. Now, let's talk about the biggest myth of all, the idea that koalas are always calm and peaceful. While they spend most of their time motionless to conserve energy, that doesn't mean they're defenseless. Aggression is always a last resort, but when their boundaries are crossed, a koala can be surprisingly fierce. An adult koala is armed with powerful limbs, razor-sharp claws, and an incredibly strong grip. In a fight, it's not a clumsy teddy bear. It's a heavy, stable, and effective fighter. Bites and scratches can be deep, and a confrontation with an angry koala is a real danger, even for humans. So what triggers this aggression? The most common reason is a violation of personal space. As solitary territorial animals, the close presence of another koala, especially one of the same sex, is a direct threat to their resources, their trees, their food, and their peace. Aggression also spikes during the breeding season. Males can be persistent, and unreceptive females will defend themselves violently. From our perspective, it might seem brutal, but in the natural world, it's a straightforward conflict of interest. Koalas don't have the energy for subtle hints. Before a fight breaks out, they'll give a series of warnings, growls, tense posture and scent marking, all screaming, "Back off." But if those warnings are ignored, they will not hesitate to defend themselves. It's an animal that has perfected the art of being alone, and one that commands respect. Did you know that stress is a silent killer for koalas? These animals are incredibly sensitive. Things like noise, human presence, or even just being moved from one place to another can be overwhelming for them. A koala is naturally a solitary animal, so when it's forced into close contact, its nervous system just goes into overload. That's when you might see what looks like aggression, but it's not a personality trait. It's a defense mechanism. The biggest problem is our own misconception. We see this calm, cuddly-looking creature and assume it loves contact, that it's harmless and wants to be petted. This is one of the most dangerous myths out there. A koala is not a living teddy bear. It's a wild animal that, while it usually avoids conflict, is perfectly capable of defending itself when it feels threatened. In their natural habitat, any aggression is short, sharp, and to the point. It's a tool, not a lifestyle. It doesn't escalate, and it doesn't last longer than it needs to. The reason we see it so rarely is because their system of conflict avoidance usually works perfectly. Now, let's talk about how koalas start their lives. It's as extreme and uncompromising as everything else about them. There's no room for comfort or the kind of safety we see in other mammals. Instead, it's all about maximum efficiency, high risk, and total dependence of the baby on its mother, right from the very first second. Koalas are marsupials, which means one thing: pregnancy is incredibly short. The birth happens at a stage that, for most other mammals, wouldn't even be considered a birth at all. A newborn koala is tiny, blind, completely naked, and unbelievably underdeveloped. It's just a few centimeters long and weighs less than a gram. It can't regulate its own body temperature and has no developed limbs or senses. Its only skill is pure instinct. And this is where the mother's pouch comes in. Immediately after being born, guided only by scent and touch, this tiny creature has to climb all by itself through its mother's fur and into the pouch. Once inside, it latches onto a teat. This single journey determines everything. If it fails, there is no second chance. The pouch isn't just a convenient carrier. It's a life support incubator. Inside the safety of the pouch, the young koala, or joey, spends many months. This is where its organs mature, its nervous system develops, and its fur and limbs grow. For a long, long time, it never leaves this safe haven, completely dependent on its mother for warmth, protection, and all its nourishment. During this time, the mother isn't just carrying her baby. She's keeping it alive at the expense of her own already limited energy reserves. When the joey finally starts to outgrow the pouch, another critical stage begins, preparing for that famous eucalyptus diet. And this brings us to one of the most fascinating and maybe a little shocking facts about koala biology. A young koala can't just start munching on leaves. Its digestive system is completely unprepared for it. It doesn't have the special gut bacteria needed to break down the toxins in eucalyptus. So, what's the solution? The mother produces a special substance called pap. It's a semi-liquid fecal matter that she feeds to her young. This isn't just a meal. It's a biological rite of passage. The mother is literally transferring the microbiological key to life, passing on the essential bacteria her joey needs to survive. In the entire mammal world, it's just hard to find another example of such a direct and uncompromising dependence of a baby on its mother. After leaving the pouch for good, the joey still isn't ready for independence. It rides on its mother's back, learning which leaves are safe to eat, where the best branches are for resting, and how to react to the world around it. This period of intense learning lasts for months. The mother is the joey's sole source of knowledge, safety, and stability. A koala isn't born with an instruction manual. It learns everything by watching and imitating its mom. Only after a very long time does the young koala begin to venture out on its own. Even then, its world is small, cautious, and repetitive. Slowly, it establishes its own territory, separates from its mother, and begins the solitary life it will lead for the rest of its years. This whole process means koalas don't have a lot of offspring. Each joey is a massive energetic and biological investment. In a stable, healthy environment, this strategy worked just fine. But in our modern world, filled with habitat loss, disease, and constant disturbances, this low and slow reproductive strategy is becoming increasingly risky for the species' survival. Now let's delve into koala health, which is a far more dramatic and concerning topic than most people realize. From a distance, many koalas look perfectly fine. You see them sitting in a tree, sleeping, eating leaves. But beneath that calm exterior, a huge portion of the population is fighting chronic diseases that are slowly destroying them from the inside out. The most serious and widespread of these is chlamydia, and this isn't just some minor infection. It's a devastating disease that, in some regions, affects more than half of all koalas. It attacks their eyes, urinary tract, and reproductive system. It can cause blindness, chronic pain, incontinence, and, most critically, infertility. For an animal with such a low birth rate, being unable to reproduce is a direct threat to its very existence. The worst part is how chlamydia works in koalas. It's often slow and insidious. The symptoms can take months or even years to develop. A koala can continue to live its life, eating and sleeping, all while the infection is gradually ravaging its body. By the time the symptoms become obvious, it's often too late for the animal to make a full recovery. So why are they so susceptible to this? The key factor is environmental stress. Koalas are creatures of habit, programmed for stability. Any disturbance, whether it's noise, the presence of people, losing their trees, or being near roads and dogs, triggers a powerful stress response. In a koala, stress directly weakens the immune system. Think about it. Their bodies are already running on a shoestring energy budget from their low-nutrient diet. When stress is added to the mix, the body has to make choices. Does it prioritize digestion, staying warm, or fighting off infection? Very often, the immune system is what gets sacrificed. It becomes less effective, making it easier for infections to take hold and for chronic diseases like chlamydia to spiral out of control. Habitat fragmentation makes this whole problem even worse. In large, continuous forests, koalas rarely run into each other. But when their habitat is chopped up by roads, farms, and suburbs, they're forced to live closer together. They have more contact, which increases the spread of disease, and they have to move through unfamiliar, dangerous territory. Every time a koala has to climb down to the ground to cross a road or a field, it's at risk of being hit by a car, attacked by a dog, or simply getting dehydrated. Each one of these journeys is another major stress event that further weakens its immunity. The diseases don't even have to be new. The stress just creates the perfect conditions for existing infections to thrive. Treating diseases in koalas is difficult and fraught with risk. Let's start with a medical puzzle. When a koala gets sick, treating it is a huge gamble. Antibiotics can fight the infection, but they also destroy the koala's delicate gut bacteria. Without those bacteria, a koala can't digest its only food source, eucalyptus leaves. So it's a terrible choice. Cure the disease and risk starvation, or let the infection run its course. You see, koalas were never meant to be tough. Evolution designed them for a world with low stress, plenty of space, and stable food. Diseases existed, but they didn't spread like they do today. The epidemics we see now are a symptom of a much deeper crisis. They show us just how much this species depends on calm, continuous habitats. The koala isn't losing because it's flawed. It's losing because its biology wasn't built for the fragmented, noisy, and unstable world we've created. To understand this, we need to look at their brain. A koala has one of the smallest brains relative to its body size of any mammal. It's also remarkably smooth, without the folds and wrinkles you see in human brains. This means a smaller surface area and, crucially, lower energy use. The brain is an incredibly expensive organ to run, and a koala, living on a low-energy diet of toxic leaves, simply can't afford a big one. It doesn't need to learn complex skills or solve new problems. Its world is simple and repetitive. Evolution decided a bigger brain was a luxury with no real benefit. This leads to a trait that seems almost absurd to us. If you pick fresh eucalyptus leaves off a branch and put them on a plate in front of a koala, it probably won't eat them. Not because they're bad leaves, but because they're out of context. In a koala's biological programming, food grows on trees. Period. A leaf detached from a branch is no longer recognizable as food. This isn't stupidity. It's extreme specialization. It is an animal so finely tuned to its environment that it can't process information outside of a very narrow set of rules. But koalas hold some incredible surprises. One of the most fascinating is their paws. If you look at a koala's fingerprints, they are almost identical to a human's. Under a microscope, they're so similar it's hard to tell them apart. The patterns of ridges and grooves look completely familiar. This is a stunning example of what is called convergent evolution, where two unrelated species develop the same solution to a problem. For humans, it was for gripping tools. For koalas, it's for gripping branches. The strange side effect is that a koala could theoretically leave a perfect fingerprint at a crime scene and cause some serious confusion for forensic investigators. And there's another feature that often goes unnoticed, especially on male koalas. You might see a dark, sometimes bald-looking patch on their chest. This isn't an injury or a disease. It's a scent gland, a powerful biological transmitter. The male rubs this gland against tree trunks, leaving behind a scented signature. This oily residue tells other koalas everything they need to know: who he is, his condition, and his social status. The stronger the smell, the clearer the message. This territory is taken. It's a brilliant energy-saving system. No fighting, no chasing, just a clear message sent through the air. So, what does the future hold for this unique animal? This is a question science struggles to answer. Not because we lack data, but because everything depends on the speed of change. And the speed of the 21st century is brutal for the koala. This species was shaped by a world that was stable, slow, and predictable. The world it lives in now is the exact opposite. Climate change is hitting them from every direction. Rising temperatures lead to more frequent and intense heat waves, which are deadly for an animal that can't regulate its body temperature very well. Koalas don't sweat effectively, and they don't have the energy to actively seek out cooler spots. When it gets too hot, their only option is to become completely still, and sometimes that's not enough. An even bigger threat is wildfire. Australia has always been a continent of fire, but the scale of what we're seeing now is different. The fires are hotter, faster, and burn across vast landscapes. For a koala, this is a complete catastrophe. They can't run fast. They can't burrow underground. Their instinct is to climb higher into the trees, the very fuel for the fire. When a eucalyptus forest burns, their entire world vanishes. Their food, their shelter, their territory, and the scent map that guides them. Even the koalas that survive the flames often die later from dehydration, starvation, or smoke inhalation. A fire doesn't just end when the last flame goes out. For koalas, it's a long-term ecological trauma that leaves the land barren for years. Climate change also directly affects their food. Drought and altered rainfall patterns stress the eucalyptus trees, causing them to produce more toxins in their leaves while reducing their nutritional value. This is a devastating blow for an animal already living on an energetic knife edge. A leaf that was once a reliable meal might now be too toxic or too nutrient-poor to sustain life. On top of that, we're losing eucalyptus diversity. To us, one eucalyptus tree might look like another. But for a koala, different species are not interchangeable. They rely on a specific mix of trees. When those right trees disappear from the landscape due to land clearing or monoculture planting, the koala has nothing else to eat. Habitat fragmentation makes all of this worse. As forests are chopped up by roads, farms, and suburbs, koalas are forced to travel on the ground. This is incredibly dangerous. It exposes them to car accidents and dog attacks, increases stress, weakens their immune systems, and helps diseases spread more easily. Each of these problems would be a major challenge on its own. Together, they create a perfect storm of pressure that this species never evolved to handle. So, will the koala survive the 21st century? The answer is it depends, but not on the koala. Biologically, this species is already at the absolute limit of its ability to adapt. It won't suddenly become more flexible. It's not going to change its diet or speed up its metabolism. Its survival depends almost entirely on our decisions, on protecting its remaining habitat, preserving diverse eucalyptus forests, creating corridors to connect fragmented landscapes, and most importantly, slowing the pace of climate change. Today, the koala is more than just a cute animal. It's an indicator species. Its struggle shows us what happens when a creature, perfectly adapted to a world that no longer exists, is pushed to the brink. If the koala does vanish, it won't be with a loud bang. It will be a quiet, gradual fading away, a slow disappearance, much like the way it lives its life. The choice of whether that happens is now entirely up to us.